microphone.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. My lord, I received exhibit mark 4.
Katunga exhibit ekine namba ina.
Which is a black zastava.
Ekine pistol nembunde nchatuiragura aiba kweta zastava.
Pistol.
Pistol.
My lord, it had markings.
Ekaineho ebishatu.
Marked. It was marked.
Ekaihandikire nakyo kainemu ebihandikireho.
UG.
Ekaine enamba UG
16
emwe mukaaga
222
ibiri
000
000
61.
mukaaga emwe.
Okay.
And then
So I would like you to confirm that that is the weapon you did examine.
my lord, this is the weapon I examined.
Ekyembundu niyo nakyeruire.
And it had an additional mark CZ99 compact.
Ekaine enamba ezindi CZ 99 compact.
CZ.
99 compact.
Correct. You have mentioned CZ99, but your report has CZ999. What explanation do you have for that?
My lord, this is a typing error in my report.
Omuripoti yange nkaireka nkaine enamba
CZ999 is a typing error.
mwenda emirundi eshatu ejeji ne emperial shobi kakorwa abayobozi batayipinga reportage.
And when you refer to CZ99, what does that mean?
My lord, this is the model.
Ekino ekika ky'embundu.
This is the model of that firearm,
Ekino ekika ky'embundu egi eyina atondere.
or the family to which it belongs.
Oh,
The family of firearms to which it belongs.
Nashi ekika ky'embundu ekyerikushangwa.
Does the model of the firearm uniquely identify the firearm?
No, my lord.
Ekika ky'embundu ekyekushangwamu
does not uniquely.
It's not uniquely identified.
The firearm or the gun. What is which?
Other than the gun,
The
You can call it a gun.
Okay.
other than the model, what uniquely identifies a gun?
My lord, in Uganda, we uniquely identify.
My lord, I'm sorry to interrupt my line system. You seem to be going beyond re-examination.
In Uganda. Oh, yes. What is the problem?
Problem, my lord. My land sister has gone beyond the parameters of re-examination. The examination is strictly intended to clarify the matter which arose in cross-examination. Nowhere did we allude to what is asking the witness, say relating to how we identify people in Uganda.
Okay.
My Lord, counsel in his cross-examination asked about the specific model of the gun that was examined. And that is exactly what we are trying to
Yeah. What model did he say?
And my Lord, even in his
I
examination,
received it marked 4.
yes,
The black is a stab work pistol. It had markings, images something. This is the weapon I exhibited. It had an additional.
I examined my Lord.
I examined, yes, it had the mark CZ99 copper.
Yes,
In the report, CZ999 is a typing error.
yes,
CZ99 is the model.
yes,
That firearm, of that firearm,
yes,
or the family.
yes.
So the model of the firearm does not uniquely identify the gun.
Yes. So the question
My
is,
Lord, if you recall, when I attempted to take him there, he shied away that he's not a handler, rather he's not a ballistics firearms expert.
Let him complete that statement and we end there.
must oblige.
In Uganda,
Yes,
he has volunteered some information, which is not bad, I think.
yes.
In Uganda, what happens?
How do we uniquely identify five guns?
They are uniquely identified by serial number.
By the
Mu
serial
Uganda embunda ntizitandisa tukuteeraho serial number zaazo ezisimu
and a mark.
hamwe na mark ey'okuba enne.
Okay.
Which mark is this?
This mark has letters
Ekimaaka eyina namba.
It also has the serial number of the firearm, of the gun,
Eyina n'enamba egy'ey'embunda ey'okujja nayo.
and a unique code.
Hamwe na code.
Hold on. The big code.
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
he has already said it was an error. I don't know why he's going this way. If it was an error, let's continue.
Yes,
About the 99 and Eco 9.
yes.
He has said it is UG whatever, so why are we
Yes.
continuing the other day?
No, my Lord, that was actually my last question there.
Yeah, let's continue.
Clarification I sought.
Okay, fine.
And I would appreciate if they don't disrupt me because I also did not.
Okay.
Now, my Lord, as long as she confines the examination within
To
the
clarify,
examination, yes.
there was a problem,
Yeah.
a mistake.
If
but
there is
okay.
anything beyond that, do not shy away, my Lord.
Okay.
My Lord, the questions I am putting, in fact, I am quoting their questions, and then I ask
Yeah, so
for
we'll stop
clarification. So let's continue. Mr. Mabiru, you were also asked questions relating the grip of the gun and how and your response was that you never picked any swab from the grip. And I would like you to clarify on what parts of this gun that you swabbed and why. Yes, because Councillor Karuhanga in his closing remarks, in fact, put it to the witness that he did selective swabbing and he needs to clarify on that.
Okay, so let him do that.
My Lord,
Mm.
in my examination of the firearm,
Kunabe nikyebera embunda eki.
I considered the parts
Nkareeba ebicweka byayo
that would lead to the discharge
kiyinza kuleetera neba yaba negarwayo eyajju.
One has to load. One has to load the weapon.
Lord,
One has to load the weapon. That's why I consider the magazine.
Egyembunne tukukuba eine amasasi nikyo naleetire kuba nekebera amagazini.
One has to chamber round.
has to
Chamber a round of ammunition. One has to chamber a round of ammunition. That is by moving the slide or the barrel area. And finally, one has to discharge that round by actuating the trigger.
Kandi bakukebera ebyoga by'omuntu kugaha amagazini yaayo
I discharge
kutya alisasi likushula.
One has to discharge.
One has to discharge
by
actuating
actually
the trigger or interacting with the trigger area.
it just be as clear by pulling, isn't it? Yeah, you say one time
One activity.
Yes. Yes.
by actuating.
The trigger and
By pulling the trigger. As my
Not
Lord
pulling
has,
the trigger.
yes, as my Lord has guided.
you mentioned
The rest
something
we just
about the
no,
trigger
these are
area.
simple things. Well, you pull, stop
My Lord, in the pulling of the trigger, one has to interact with that area, which we call the trigger house.
Katebere mpundu kugaha amagazini ekubika amasasi kutya esasi
That's to interact with the. You say with the trigger house.
Yes.
Okay. Hans also asked you questions. If a gun was placed on the floor, well, there was blood, what are the circumstances that the DNA would go on the gun? And the response was it would. Under what circumstances would this happen?
My Lord, one has to observe the firearm in contact with the surface.
In contact with the surface.
Yes. Because it must come to its natural resting position.
Yes.
So those areas, one observes the areas, one would impute that direct transfer of DNA would be to the weapon.
How's those areas?
Areas that have contacted the surface.
But have contact.
And before we move forward, when you did a presumptive test on this gun, you'll see any blood on it, traces.
My lord, there were no visible blood stains.
Ebyempundu ekine shagama ekulebeka.
Blood stains of the gun. Is it so?
Yes, that's all. There were no visible blood stains
On the?
on the gun.
Okay.
Okay. During cross-examination, counsel showed you a toy pistol. However, I would like to show you, because a toy pistol may not bring out a clear picture of what you want to illustrate. We have asked security to clear the firearm. Actual firearm. It's not risky because they have checked all the
You first see twice, you said it. Nobody's an expert. You are not sure they go.
The officer here has assured me he inspected it personally.
Who is that?
see.
Mate. Pardon? So you are an expert. Are you firearms expert?
Kindly check and see that yourself.
My lord, this weapon is safe.
Okay.
What is that?
My lord, they have presented to me 2 guns.
2 guns.
Okay. Alright. So I want to.
Ezinembulo ezitandeetera. Enshe.
Which type of? It's okay. We may not go into the time, but just look at them, place them there.
Two guns.
Yes.
These drawers.
Would like you to just hand it. Yes. When you were explaining about contact, when that gun is resting, which part is touching the surface?
Now, there's no one. What is this? The gun which was examined?
The gun which was examined, my lord, is with ballistic. This is just for illustration, because they also brought a toy gun. So we want also to illustrate that the way.
So these are not the guns.
No, this is just to illustrate that when you talk about a.
So let me, this is to illustrate what it does, what the illustrate.
Tetaliyo
I
n'agezaho
want to know what is
To
illustrate.
illustrate in answer to questions that arose on the toy pistol.
aliyo n'agezaho kugamba aha bibuuzo baloya ebibabuuza oku kubaleetera episito etali
My lord, because a toy will not give us an explanation of questions that arose on contact. Okay, so let me
Ask him.
ask now. So, when you look at the way that gun is resting, which parts are actually touching the surface?
My lord, I can observe that the grip is touching the surface of both weapons. The grip. The grip, the lower part of the grip. This is the grip. It's touching the surface.
So last week, the lower part of the grip
Yes.
is touching.
The surface. I can also observe that the slide where the barrel is housed is also in contact with the surface.
The slide where
Where the barrel is housed
how is it?
is in contact with the surface.
Contact with the surface.
You see from that illustration the trigger in contact with that surface.
No, my lord.
The trigger is not contact.
Esasi aho eri kushoborera omuntu egi
My lord, the trigger house is not in contact with the surface of both.
takwata
The
hansi.
trigger.
The trigger.
Let's be clear, please.
It's the trigger.
We say the trigger.
Yes. What
is
about
not
the
in contact with the surface?
Yes. What about the trigger house?
The trigger house is not in contact with the surface, my lord.
Sasa aho eri kushoborera tari hansi.
And the magazine?
My lord, the magazine is housed in the grip here, so it is not in contact with the surface.
Magazini bagita omukyo ekyo kintu kyebakwoleka
The magazine.
tekwata hansi.
In contact with the surface.
Magazine.
It's housed in the grip and is not in contact with the surface.
House in the grip and it is not in contact with the surface.
Okay. You were also asked questions about the swabbing that you did on the trigger and the trigger house. So I would like you to explain to court how you did that swabbing. Swabbing on the trigger house. He was asked questions about the swab of the trigger and trigger house. And I would like him to explain to court how he did the swabbing.
But this is a swab. So I swab trigger out in. So trigger and the house.
Okukora tukoya.
I swab the trigger and the trigger house.
Weyayireho ebintu kuyihireho ebintu ebyakebire omunagaragure.
And the trigger house.
Which part of that is swabbed?
I swabbed the inner part of the trigger and also the inner part of the trigger house in that motion.
Inner part of the trigger and
The trigger house.
and the inner part. Are you sure? Of the trigger house.
Yes. relation to that same swap, you were asked questions about Exhibit 4-3, that was the swab of the trigger from police, and you explained that you did not use it. Why?
My lord, I have already swapped exhibit marked 4.
Okay.
My lord, I had already swapped exhibit marked 4.
You did not?
I did not swap, I did not use exhibit marked 4-3.
ndakozise ekisite kitwalire enamba ina dashemu
4-3
nasitebire
because
ahabwokuba
I had already swapped exhibit marked 4.
nka naheze kukyebera ekisite kitwalire enamba ina
You had already
Swapped exhibit marked 4. So I did not see the need to consume exhibit 4-3.
No, you've already explained. I did not use exhibit over
-3.
for that because I already traveled this exhibit.
This one.
Okay. Council also asked you questions relating to the concept of DNA transfer. And also where one touches an object and goes to touch another person, which you called primary and secondary transfer during cross-examination, you recall.
Yes, ma'am.
We would like you to clarify what is primary transfer of DNA.
My lord, primary transfer is where DNA is directly transferred. Directly transferred to an object. Direct contact.
ekirayita primary transfer of DNA nasho kutwara obutafaara bw'omubiri ahandi ekikubanza
When you say
Kora,
direct
wakwata
contact,
aha
it
muntu
means me touching like this.
nosho wakwata aha
Yes, my lord, and that is what we, in layman terms, you can say direct transfer.
What about secondary transfer?
Now, secondary transfer
then okutwara obutafaara bw'omubiri okwakabiri
and other higher orders of transfer, tertiary, quaternary, there are others.
Yeah?
hamwe n'ebindi
direct transfer. By what?
Hello, my question.
By,
Okay.
by who? It's what? The ordinary.
Please explain.
The
The ordinary way.
direct transfer.
By
Direct transfer is where DNA is transferred to an object directly by contact, touching. That's direct.
okubanza wakwata aha kintu
That is what we.
DNA
Yes.
is the way a DNA is
akatafaari
directly
k'omubiri
transferred
mukakisigara
to an object through direct contact.
Yes.
It is also called direct transfer.
Yes.
Like where I touch the object,
Huh?
direct touching.
Direct transfer, yes. Is that it, sir?
Yes.
By touch or
It's directly transferred from a person. One of the ways is touch. Yes.
or
Cancel.
no, it's okay.
Kindly.
Let him leave you.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know whether we should train this.
No, just ignore what he's asking. This one is going to be asking.
I'm the one asking, and you said the one
You don't suggest. Please.
So you said only touch. So kindly take us now to secondary.
By touch or
All other direct needs.
All other things. So we are through with that.
Secondly, and other higher orders is where DNA is transferred.
Secondly, and other higher.
Order transfers. Secondly.
But in this, what you shall do,
So,
transfer order. That's exactly what she asks. Don't bring in new things. Because we are not learning about DNA here. We are learning about what transpires.
so I would like you to address us on secondary transfer.
So secondary transfer is where DNA is transferred to an object through an intermediary.
ekyo kyakabiri akapaparo omulundu kutwalwa aha kintu ekyo kuraba omu kintu ekindi ekiri hagati.
An intermediary.
An intermediary.
Okay. So would an amount of DNA transferred through secondary transfer be more than that for the depositor? Or quantum?
They may not be it's not a clear question.
My lord? Okay.
In referring to the specific that I was doing.
So referring to the questions that we put to you.
There was someone here, around there, which I
Yes.
remember. So, this
And that is what I want him to clarify.
Mhm.
Can the transfer on secondary be more than transfer on contact?
Or okay, can transfer of secondary be more than that of primary?
Yes.
Maybe there.
Not of blood.
Uh-huh.
The transfer on primary contact
Uh-huh.
is usually more than the transfer by secondary means.
Obutafari bw'omubiri okusigala ha kintu kikwatibweho ni bwingi kukira obwo okwijiraho kuraba omu kintu ekindi.
My God, if I can demonstrate, if she shook my hand and I put her DNA on this table, she has transferred an amount on my hand, so I cannot transfer all the amount here. So whatever she has transferred here, a little will stay here, the other will come here. So that will be less.
Yeah, yeah. We know that now. Because it is primary.
You were also asked questions relating to background DNA. And I would like you to clarify, can background DNA be more than that of contact?
It depends on the contact activity.
Yes.
Or we put it up.
Okay, let me clarify.
Yes. Let me read. Please, let this go. How before.
Thank you.
It's okay. Uh-huh.
Maybe we can start from you clarifying on what background DNA is.
My Lord, background DNA is the DNA that persists on an object from the owner of that object.
An object from who?
The owner
Of
or
what?
of that object or the usual user.
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 User. Right.
So I would like you, therefore, to explain to us, because when you attempted to explain, you were not given an opportunity. The circumstances that contact DNA will be more than background DNA.
That's the same. But it's okay.
It's not the same. Where contact DNA will be more than the background.
Is that true?
That's the question, my Lord, and I'm going to respond. My Lord, the circumstances under which that can happen is where the intensity of the person contacting the surface is so great that they will shed a lot of DNA that will overpower the background
Maybe
DNA.
because contact DNA will be
More
more than background
DNA.
when what?
DNA.
When
The contact
Yes.
intensity
uh-huh.
is large enough that the person contacting the surface sheds a substantial amount of DNA to overpower the background DNA.
Yes.
Council asked you questions relating to your presence at the scene of crime. What was your role at the scene?
My Lord, at the scene of crime, I attended as a supervisor.
ekinakozire aho omuntu yafeegire kandi ndeeba ebibabaire bakora nashe ninye nabaire nibakurra ababaire nibakora emirimo aho
Specifically to support the team that was doing blood pattern analysis.
kandi nkurra abasirikare ababaire nibihaho eshagama eyabaire eri aha omuntagi yafeegire ani Katanga yafeegire.
Blood pattern analysis. Yes, please.
Okay. Council also asked you about the swabs of blood that were picked from A1 morning, and the fact that some were picked from the floor, others on the door, and others on the curtain. Do you know how that blood went about in that room?
No, my Lord, I don't know.
tinkumanya egyo eshagama ekeijeeta eyabaire eri ahansi omushengye nanaha ebintu ebyabaire biri omushengye aho Katanga yafeegire.
He does not know.
Also, from the swabs that were sent to you, have you been positioned to determine the quantities in the room of blood?
No, my Lord.
Kanta kubaasa kumanya eshagama eyashukire omushengye ekyo ekwenengana eta.
You have not been in a position to determine what?
Quantities of blood.
Alright.
Yes, for the swabs, right?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
In the room, which room now? You are.
The master bedroom. This is the master bedroom.
I'm not able to.
also know how her blood went to the roof, the ceiling of this house?
Do you?
No, my lord, I cannot.
No one is blood.
Ndikubaasa kumanya eshagama yambayo Katanga ekazeeta ayigula omukishengi.
Okay. Council also asked you questions relating to major and minor contributors to a profile. How do you determine the major contribution or the minor contribution?
My lord, I do a qualitative and quantitative
To determine the major or minor whatever.
contributor to a DNA profile.
What do you do?
I do a qualitative and quantitative assessment of the entire DNA profile.
When you say quantitative, what do you mean?
My lord,
Quantitative assessment of a profile.
my lord, quantitative assessment requires me to do a mathematical computation based
Thank you.
a mathematical computation
Based on
based on the peak heights,
peak. What peak is this?
PEAK.
Heights.
In brackets, you can put my lord RFU because council talked about it a lot.
And what about in qualitative assessment?
Qualitative assessment is based on the contribution
That is qualitative.
qualitative. The contribution of alleles by person of interest at all locations examined.
All locations examined. How many locations do you examine on each profile?
I know there are 25 locations on each profile. The total is 25.
On each profile.
Examine. You examine.
It examines. So how many?
Examine. Right of info.
So there are 25 locations, and of the 25, 23 are what we use for the qualitative and quantitative examination.
23 location.
Yes.
What you use or use?
That's what I use, my lord. 23 locations.
What you use
Yes.
for the qualitative and
For the which I used for the qualitative and quantitative
quantitative what?
qualitative
Assessment.
assessment.
Okay.
Qualitative and quantitative.
My lord, I request that I return these items.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. order from the
First of all, what are they? What are they?
My brother, electrophoregram.
Is it PH or F?
ELE.
CTRO,
G.
G,
No, sorry. It's HE.
E, H,
Electrical then what?
Ferrogram.
That one.
EHE. RO. GRAN.
G what?
RAN.
gram,
Electrical
electropherogram.
program.
It's coming.
Program.
Electro.
It's B what? H.
PH.
Yeah. Right, sir. Is what?
So what is it?
This is an output from the process DNA analysis. That is called electrophoresis.
That is the SIS.
SIS. That is the detection stage.
Which is at what stage?
Detection.
And what is the purpose of this?
The purpose of the electrophoregram, my God, is to bring to bear the DNA profile in example.
So in making your report, specifically this report that you made, you don't make it based on only from one location, or you based on electropherogram pics also from other locations.
My God, I based on all the 25 locations.
So you started in making your report,
In making my report,
MS.
I base
Oh,
based on all
the 25
the 25
locations. Eh?
locations.
with the allegation that was put to you. Is it true that therefore your report is based on mysteries?
No, my Lord, there are no mysteries.
Mysteries. Mystery.
Why?
Because I base my Lord, I base my opinion on the data of the entire electoral block.
You were also asked questions relating to fingerprints on the gun that you examined. And your answer was that you did not pick any fingerprints. According to your triage process, what takes precedence between DNA and fingerprints?
I know DNA takes precedence over fingerprints.
Triage.
That's a new matter.
Okay, no matter.
And my lord, under section 137 of the Evidence Act, re-examination shall be directed to the explanation of matters referred to in cross-examination, and if a new matter is granted, it has to be granted with permission of court, and the adverse party may further cross-examine upon that matter. My lord, it is a new matter, nobody to ask this witness in cross-examination about anything called triage, and secondly, nobody asked this witness in cross-examination about which takes, and in the triage, more precedence between fingerprints and DNA.
Did you talk about triage?
Cannot, the question was, it was actually him who was insisting on fingerprints. And I am both, actually both asked questions.
We will simply ask him if he took fingerprints.
Yeah.
We do not, the idea of which takes precedence is a new matter. And if they want to open that matter, we should also be allowed to ask him questions about that.
Yeah, takes precedence over fingerprints.
Because they asked questions relating to fingerprints. But I can rephrase the same question.
We'll capture the answer.
Yeah.
It's fun.
No, because the questions were
It's a
asked.
new matter. Unless we are going to be allowed to ask him questions, it's not it.
Kindly. Don't disrupt. My lord, questions were asked relating to the picking of fingerprints, and he has himself confirmed the same.
No, I remember something.
Yes. So I want him to explain and
So there
clarify.
was DNA,
And
then he was asking about
fingerprints. Fingerprints.
fingerprints.
Yes.
Why fingerprints were not lifted?
I think it was Ganzo Kabeka.
My lord,
Mr.
please sit down.
No, it's okay.
The question that I posed to the witness was whether fingerprints were lifted from the gun. I never asked him which of the two DNA and fingerprints takes precedence over the other. And that is what we
Okay,
are
let's
saying.
end there.
Then can we pray, my lord, that answer be expanded?
It will expand.
Much obliged.
Okay.
Well, those
I would like you
explanations
to explain
can be made later on.
probably why the
Why not
fingerprints were not
do it,
picked.
please?
Clarify on why the fingerprints
Okay,
were not picked.
now this one is physical. Expand. Wow, next, please.
Could you clarify why fingerprints were not picked?
My lord, I cannot speak to the specifics, but I can say that that is a question that we need to ask the senior crime officer.
Okay.
Can I record that?
In your thank you.
It is the series of crime. You should be asked about not picking. Fingerprints. Next.
All right. I also want you to clarify in your expertise, is it feasible for both DNA and fingerprints to be picked from the same item?
My lord, in the process of taking DNA swabs on an object. One can interfere with the underlying latent prints. On the other side, as you attempt to do fingerprint enhancement, will interfere. You will interfere with the trace biological material where the DNA is.
With the trace
Biological material required for DNA analysis. So one has to choose one or the other. Okay.
All right. Council asked you a question relating to the profile on exhibit number 7. This was the sample, which was the cutting from the bedsheet.
is it 7?
Yes, this was exhibit number 7, but its serial number ends with 008. And this was the,
Number 7, is it?
yes,
Cutting from.
the bed sheet. And my lord, you can be a fence exhibit. The one which I
Let her watch it. No, she will know what it is. You check.
I am specific to exhibit that ends with serial number 008. This was a cutting from the bed sheet that was recovered from A1. And council took you to annexure 3 of the report. Annexure 3 of the report, which had pics 12, 15, 16. In your explanation, you said 12, 15, and 16. However, from your analysis, you indicated that this was a single profile. So how does it, what explanation do you have for it being a single profile even when it had 3 ID numbers?
My lord,
Now, so when we go to the number, it's 7.
It is exhibit M7.
M7.
Yes, ma'am.
Cutting from bed sheet, over.
More accused number 1.
Everyone.
M7, not 7.
Yes.
my lord, in the annex, which council took court to,
That is Annex 3.
annex 3,
Compared with was it a comparison?
He was comparing Annex 3 on exhibit on exhibit, on prosecution exhibit 6, that is the DNA report.
Yes.
So, I thought this is the qualitative assessment which was done. And following the qualitative assessment, we are able to look back to the electrophoregram, which is
Thank you, Pastor.
Was the qualitative work?
assessment.
And you were able to look back
To the
the photograph.
electrophoregram and after assessing all the locations, the 25, I am of the opinion that this is a single source profile.
Right.
With those other areas as irrelevant data, or we call PCR artifacts.
Those other areas and
PCR
relevant what?
irrelevant data,
PCR, what you call it?
PCR artifacts.
PCR.
And that takes me to the PCR artifacts and the questions he asked about the peaks and the starter artifacts. What are PCR artifacts?
My lord, PCR
Spell artifact.
Facts.
What are they?
These are irrelevant data that is generated during analysis and we are trying to identify it using the system.
You are trying to identify each.
To identify it using the system.
Frame identify.
Trying to identify it using the system.
We are trained to identify what?
It
Each.
using
The system.
are these, do they form part of your findings?
My lord, they don't form part of my findings. Because they are suppressed by the system during analysis.
Council said that these were edited. Is that true?
My lord, these irrelevant data cannot be deleted. It can only be suppressed in analysis. As identified by the analyst.
be suppressed
The
in
first
the
meaning
analysis
analysis
as identified
as
by the
identified by
analyst.
the analyst. They cannot be what?
So,
Cannot be deleted. They can only be suppressed.
so what do you mean that can only be suppressed?
The system, my lord, is able to compute for these artifacts.
Compute
Yes,
for
for these artifacts. During the quantitative analysis.
Okay. So the next clarification I want you to give us is also whether it is possible to delete any alibi that appears on the electrophoreograph.
My lord, it is not possible
To
to delete.
an alien
yes.
appears in the electro. All right.
Okay. Council asked you about validation studies. What, for starters, what are these?
Validation studies. Studies.
Yes.
What are validation studies?
About validation studies are undertaken upon installation of equipment, operating new protocols, to determine the limits of analysis.
Are these done on every casework you have?
No, my lord, we are not done. These validation studies are not done in every case.
Yeah, it is coming one, but you are listening.
Not your plan. All right. Council asked you also questions relating to alleles or alleles as are transcribed on the table. And from your explanation, some of them were not manually transcribed on that colorful table. Why?
My lord, in transcribing some alleles were left out as they were deemed to be irrelevant. However, some also left out due to a transcription error, typo.
Transcription error. In bracket typo. Typo.
So would one missing out on the table at page 45 in any way affect the general findings?
My lord, those missing out alleles do not affect my analysis and the opinion thereof.
Do not note.
Affect the analysis and opinion in my report.
Thank you. Council also asked you about risks that come about in the lab as you do your work, and you explained that there was a difference between contamination and pollution. Would like you to explain what is contamination and how different is it from pollution?
My lord, our definition of contamination involves DNA being introduced in an evidential material deliberately. On the other side, pollution refers to an incident where DNA inadvertently may be introduced by a forensic practitioner during the normal course of their duty. If they do not adhere to the pollution during the normal course of their duty, if the pollution control measures,
they do not adhere to
the pollution control measures,
This particular case, while you handled it, did you have any instances of contamination?
my lord, there were no instances of contamination that we have identified.
I would like you also to clarify to court what pollution measures you have put in the lab.
My lord, the pollution control measures
Kindly clarify why you said there was no pollution in this case.
my lord, the pollution control measures that we have include an elimination database
An elimination.
database that has profiles.
As you say, in this case, there was no
So the
contamination.
so no pollution.
As well.
Instances of contamination and pollution.
Was there any pollution in this case?
There was no pollution.
And why do you say so?
My lord, we run the all evidential material, all the profiles of evidence from the evidence. Against the elimination database. In an attempt to identify a pollution event. Identify a pollution event.
A pollution event or the pollution event.
Yes.
A or the.
A pollution, any pollution event.
When, I just want to make sure that I've got it clear. When you say elimination profile, or elimination database, you mean the profiles of all people who are working in the lab?
Yes, that's correct.
What is that?
The elimination database, that's what I want to
The elimination database means what?
DNA profiles of personnel in the laboratory.
Okay. Related to the above, Council also asked you a question about negative controls that you ran. You recall. And about the negative peaks that came through. What were those peaks, and could you clarify what they mean in the analysis?
My lord,
Maybe you start by what a negative control test is, because that's where they started from.
my lord, the negative control is designed to establish that there is no, designed to establish that there is no background DNA. And there is no background DNA that has been detected above the reporting threshold. As said during the validation study. Studies. Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to clarify what they appear and what the reporting threshold is.
And what the reporting threshold is 300.
My lord, I have a small objection. My lord will recall that we requested this witness to provide us with those studies to see those thresholds, and he declined. So I don't think it's in order for him to give information that he couldn't share with the defense to the court. We very specifically asked him in writing, in an application, and before this hearing, for his validation studies that set out his thresholds. He declined. I think to bring them up on re-exam, my lord, I think is prejudicial to the defense, because if we had had a study with a validation threshold, we would have asked him questions about those thresholds. Unless they are bringing it as a new matter and they want to bring it, they want to give us that validation study, and we also ask him questions about those thresholds. Otherwise, the cross-examination should be limited. I mean, the re-exam should be limited, my lord. Matters which he refused to disclose, he can't start disclosing now. Moreover, he told us it was national security. I don't know why he's putting the country at risk.
My lord, the purpose of re-examination is to clarify things that came out of the cross-examination. And the question relating to this came out when he was asking about peaks that come through in the negative evidence, and I wish the witness to clarify the same. So I don't know why.
When you should be put to say the word.
Yes.
You answer what you asked.
Yes. So let me clarify.
About the other, about the other.
Yes.
I refuse. Relative.
Okay, can you repeat the answer?
Threshold
The reporting threshold is what?
is 300.
And you restrict yourself around that.
Yes.
300 what?
I refuse.
RFU.
Yes.
What is that again?
That is the height. Yeah.
The what?
So
RFU is the what?
anything between 0 and 300 is deemed to be background.
RFU mentioned.
What is RFU, sir?
Relative fluorescence units.
Relative
Fluorescence units.
fluorescence.
Units.
Alright. Fluorescence, like a fluorescence central.
Because the DNA fluoresces in the system, so it can see.
Okay, fine. Correct.
Thank you. You were also asked questions about an allergic bladder.
Adding
Allergic bladder.
American.
Kindly explain to us what an allergic bladder is and how it relates to cases of contamination.
My lord, an analytic ladder is a sample that we derive from the manufacturer's consumables. And it contains,
Sort of the manufacturer's consumables.
yes, and it contains all alleles,
Contains?
all alleles at all positions for the envisaged population. Envisaged population.
Okay. Council asked you in relation to the same, and in your response, you said that the contamination could only take place during an event of cross-contamination.
Yes, my lord, cross-contamination.
It was there an event of cross-contamination in this analysis.
No, my lord, there was no event of cross-contamination.
We have 15 minutes. Ready to go back.
Shall we come back or
It's up to you.
continue to go?
What do you prefer? Between yourselves. Shall we come back for the afternoon?
We'll pick that up and come back tomorrow morning. And we'll just complete.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to 467.
Yeah,
So whatever you have for it.
most of them. So before we break off, I just want you to give us a clarification, because you were asked questions relating to a document here that you classified as news relating to Euroformics and the software that you used. So I want you to clarify the version you used. Is it outdated as they claim?
My lord, it is the version that we use
Version of what?
of the software Euroformics. Is an earlier release. Is an earlier release of the software. And has been successfully utilized in the lab for external proficiency testing.
Successfully?
Utilized in the lab for external proficiency testing. Which we have always successfully passed.
Which
Yeah.
has how?
Which?
We have used, which have successfully
Which has successful.
passed the proficiency test.
For, for external proficiency.
Yes, which has,
Testing,
yes,
which has done what?
which has successfully passed.
Successfully passed.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. In that case, you were able to
I just-
use a newer version. That was the question.
So I just wanted to ask you, does it, using an earlier version, does it in any way affect your findings?
No, my lord, it does not affect my findings as expounded by the external proficiency test.
Not. In any way, as what?
As demonstrated by the external proficiency test.
External proficiency. It's okay. We shall get to the. Explain the meaning.
Okay. For the time you have used Europhonics software, have you ever got any issues with it?
I have not yet detected an issue. Using the release that we are using.
You want us to manage using.
The release.
So the time I have used the Euroformic software, I have not
Detected?
detected
An issue.
We break off. And then it's more way like this. Stretch.
It's okay. It's okay. No, so that matter, adjourn to tomorrow.
State ali nabuuza okugamba ebintu bibambuuze bikwatana n'eshagama okuya kitungire twakitebiire ebyoma byakozise kabikikire kabitakikire nyo yayo nagamba hati yagira ngu yata naenda kukumura yamukanyica kale
Okay, now, let's go to the second day of October. At 10.
Yes, yeah. For those ones who have been watching, yes, the case has the president has adjourned the case up to tomorrow, 2nd October 2024, for further hearing of the case. But as I told you, the DPP's office or the states asking that the witness to make some clarification on some of the questions which were asked by the defense legal team. Yes, the case is resuming tomorrow. For those ones who have been watching, kindly keep on. Tomorrow we shall be here to follow up on this case until its end. Yes, for the DPP's office, it is represented by Senior State Attorney Samari Wakoli and Jonathan Mwaganya and Counsel Ann Kiza. Then for the defense, we have that very one is Counsel Elson Katanga, the one who is just on the screen. We have Counsel Magnus Kabega, Peter Kabat, and others. Yes. So the case is resuming tomorrow. For those ones who have been watching, thank you so much. We shall meet tomorrow. Have a good day. For any questions and what, you can hit our inbox for more clarification about the case. Yes, the case before court, it is the murder of the businessman Henry Katanga. For those ones who are asking, who was murdered on 2nd November 2023 at his home in Imbuyachwatu Road, Wachiso district. Yes, for those ones who are asking which case is this. Okay, have a good day.